How about now, Christina? Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This joint Council and Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for the purpose of having a public hearing. The council members, I'm going to call roll call right now, and please say here or present. Mayor Maxton,
Here.
Councilmember Stroop,
Here.
Elizondo,
Here.
Bliss is not present. Councilmember Kerner
Here.
and Parker.
Here.
And Councilmember Menchow is not present. With 5 members of council present, a quorum of council is declared. The following Planning and Zoning Commissioners: Chairperson Bobby Barnes,
Present.
Vice Chairperson David Horwath,
Here.
and Commissioners Linda Tom, Marty Bryant, Bernie Martin, Dale Pearson,
Here.
and Bobby Bailly.
Present. Present.
7 members of the Planning and Zoning Commission are present, and the quorum is declared.
Thank you, Christina. And would everybody please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. For those that are new to the council meetings, we are live streaming tonight's meeting. If there's anybody that does want to speak as part of tonight's meeting, I ask that you please use the microphone that's up here. If you speak from your seats over here, we can't pick it up on the live stream, and we also can't pick it up on the recording. If you do speak and you're a resident of Fair Oaks Ranch, I ask that when you come to the mic that you please state your name, and only if you're a Fair Oaks Ranch resident or not. For those others that may speak as part of the public hearing tonight, I'd ask that you also state your name and then what position you're supporting as part of the public hearing. And with that, we'll move into citizens to be heard comments tonight. Is there anybody, we didn't have anybody sign up for citizens to be heard. Is there anybody that did not have an opportunity to sign up that would like to speak? Okay, with that, then we'll move into the presentation tonight. The City Council and the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Fair Oaks Ranch, Texas, will conduct a joint public hearing to receive public testimony on a replat request for lots 242, 243, and the northeast IRR 142.64 feet of lot 267 of Fair Oaks Ranch, Bexar County, Unit C, to create one lot of 1.091 acres, generally located northwest of the intersection of Dietz Elkhorn Road and FM 3351. It's in Fair Oaks Ranch, Texas. And Christina, I have now, the time is 6:34, and I am opening the joint public hearing, and I will turn it over to our staff. And Lot is at for the staff consult presentation of the proposed replat request.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Council, Planning and Zoning Commission. So this is a replat of the property that was just read by the mayor. And can you put the next slide, please? Oh, I can do it. So as discussed, the property is located at the intersection of Dietz Elkhorn and FM 3351 on Fair Oaks Ranch. And the process of the public hearing, just to go over that, after the staff presentation, the applicant will have an opportunity to present. And then after that, the council and the P&Z will have an opportunity to receive citizen testimony if anybody is here for or against this proposed replat. And then after that, the mayor will close the public hearing, and then the city council and P&Z at that time will have the opportunity to discuss the case and direct any questions to the consultant, to me, or applicants or staff. And after that, the public hearing is adjourned. So during the public hearing process, there is no formal action necessary. The action is taken later. So after the public hearing, the Planning and Zoning Commission will convene into their regular meeting and will discuss the case and make a recommendation to the City Council. The P&Z has 3 options to approve, deny, or table action. And then once P&Z makes their recommendation, the City Council will consider and act on this plat at their next regularly scheduled meeting. So if the P&Z does make a recommendation today, then this will be on your November 3rd agenda. And then the City Council is the final authority on all replats. So, so the purpose of this replat is really to combine 3 lots, combine 2 lots and a portion of a 3rd lot. So as you can see, I don't think it's working. There you go. So this is what the configuration looks like now. So you have the first lot there, the second lot there, and the 3rd parcel is not really platted as a lot. It's a portion of the larger lot that is this lot here, which is 267. So when and if this replat gets approved, the new configuration is going to look like this. So, and part of the replat is also to remove some existing easements that are that exist along the common property line of these 2 lots and also towards the back. So lot 242 contains, which is this lot, has a single-family home, and this lot just has an accessory structure right now. And so the larger lot 267 that this is part of has a single-family home. And like I said, the reason the applicant is proposing to do that is to be able to construct a garage for the existing single-family home on lot 242. So since there is an easement there, that would need to be removed and relocated. There are actually 2 easements, one along the property line. So there is an easement right here that would prevent the garage from being constructed, and they would like to relocate an easement that's here towards the rear of the property so that there are no encroachments on that. So they're not really creating a new lot. They're actually taking 2 lots and combining it into a larger lot, and also actually cleaning up the process, because this piece of parcel was a few years back conveyed to the owner by meets and bounds and was never platted. So this will also clean up that. And that's just shows the subdivision and the parcels in question shown in red, and a picture of what the house looks like now. So the attached staff report and the joint public hearing are in compliance with the requirements of Chapter 212 of the Local Government Code and the Cities Code of Cities Development, Unified Development Code. A joint public hearing is required for replats by the Texas Code and the Unified Development Code. And so that's what this process is doing. Notice of public hearing was sent to all the applicants and property owners within 200 feet of the request as required. Legal notice was published in the newspaper, and the application was on file for public examination at the city. Staff has received 2 public comments in favor of the request and 2 in opposition, and I believe you all have been given a copy of those responses. And so that concludes my presentation. And at this time, if the mayor so wishes, the applicant would have an opportunity to present.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lotta. And do we have somebody here from the applicant that was going to do the presentation?
There's no presentation, this follows what she's saying. I'm sorry. There's no presentation, I'm just
Would
following
you
what
mind
she's saying.
stating your name?
My name is Tony Saucedo. I am the engineer for the applicant. I prepared that subdivision plan.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
So there's no a presentation, just follow what she said. She's combining 3 lots, or 2 lots as part of one, into 1 lot. She wants to build a garage that she started to build and was found that she was on the lot line, and that's not allowed. That's why you have to have a replat. So go into that process. Any questions?
And we'll come back to questions here in a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for being here tonight. Next, we'll move on to the citizen testimony portion for or against the proposed replat. And I did have one individual, Mr. Collins, signed up.
Good evening, everybody. Appreciate the opportunity to come here and present to the panel, and Mayor, good to see you again. The concern we have as a resident, my lot is located to the south of the lot in question, 29350 Grand Coteau, and I'm a resident of Fair Oaks Ranch. There's several concerns we have, and I know this panel isn't here really to decide what's right or wrong, how someone maintains their property. But we do have a standard here in Fair Oaks of how we maintain our property. The property, the main property that Ms. Beal lives in now has issues. It's noted issues. It's not maintained now. What we're looking at doing now by extending her reach, if you will, what I'm worried about is the second and third order impacts of that reach. Presently, right now, the house has, I think the safety officer's been out there in the backyard, has trash, has troughs, has massive bird cages, has wood, has lumber, has bed frames. It looks like a junkyard back there, and she's been spoken to about that before, and nothing's been done, along with the front yard as well. By extending these lots together, it gives her a farther reach. Now my property line is in danger. Now she can push all that out behind her present new garage. The old garage has fallen apart. It's been that way for over 10 years that I've been here. Ms. Beal is also a dog breeder. And at any given time, there's 5 or 6 dogs out there barking at all hours of the morning and the night. She'll have that right to extend to that property line as well. Essentially, that gives her a bigger playground to put her stuff, which concerns me, not only from the value of my property, but just the noise and the way the property will look. It's a great concern. Also of note, I don't think it's for this committee, but when the drawings were sent through, they were limited at best. I looked at them when you sent out the paperwork for this committee to come down here, and it doesn't tell me which direction it's facing. It doesn't tell me the length of it, doesn't tell me the materials, doesn't tell me the specifications, all those things that are required by the restriction committee. So it just passed through the restriction committee. The restriction committee has since changed, and the standards have changed. But I'm not quite sure what's going to go in there at this point in time because the drawings were so limited and the specifications were so limited, particularly when it comes to light discipline. There's nothing on this drawing that tells us how this thing's going to be positioned and how far back on the lot. So that is a concern. But again, my major concern is the second and third order impact. If this becomes one lot, what's going to happen across that lot and the trash that will be continued to be placed out there. The property also has 2 abandoned cars on it right now. It's been that way for over 10 years. So those are some of my concerns about combining these lots. If you can't maintain your primary house, now you're going to add to that and put on a secondary house with the second floor. I'm not quite sure what that's going to be, if it's going to be a garage, storage area. Limited information on that. Okay, that's what I have to present right now.
Can I just add one thing?
Your name is on the list also.
The only thing, I know he talked about the one garage, she has two garages there already that are falling apart. The possibility of other structures being built on another lot, because now she can do that. Now you don't have restrictions on how big the structure has to be on those lots that she's joining. Now you can join, you could have multiple little garages built for more of her storage and more of her junk, excuse my saying junk, and little, what do they call those, little sheds,
Yeah.
tuck sheds. You can put all sorts of stuff when you join. Now you don't have any restrictions that you have to abide by anymore.
Presently, there's probably 5 or 6 shed-type items in her backyard, and that'll just extend out. So, okay,
All right.
thank you for your time.
Thank you both. The Collins were the only individuals that had signed up to speak as part of citizen testimony. Is there anybody else here tonight that did not get an opportunity to sign up that would like to speak as part of citizen testimony? All right. Well, Christine, I have the time now is 6:46, and so we're closing the public hearing. Now, we have a large group up here. If you would help me by keeping it somewhat controlled. And if anybody has questions, just raise your hand and we can address questions to the individuals that did the presentation tonight. And is there anybody that has a question? Lotta, I had a couple questions. So the 3 properties that are being considered are already owned by the applicant, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then basically what we're looking at tonight for the replat is taking property she already owns and just combining it into one larger property.
Yes, let me bring that up. I'll just, right, so that's essentially what they're doing, is taking 2 lots and portions of another lot that they already were somehow bought by meets and bounds and combining those into one large parcels.
Okay. And then
So-
with that, and we talked about the easement, so there's an easement between 242 and 243
Yes,
that will be removed.
it'll be relocated along the edges of the lot so that the construction of the garage is not over an easement.
And then the easement that's between is it 243 and 267 will go away, and that will be moved out to the outer edges of
Right.
267.
Right, so if you look at the configuration on the right side, the easements will all move towards the edge, to be on the edge of the property.
Okay. And is there any concerns with the current easements going away or the new easements that would be put in? And maybe that's more of a,
I'll defer it to Katie on that.
All right, I'm Katie Schweitzer. I'm the manager of engineering services here at the City of Fair Oaks Ranch. Can you please repeat your question?
so we have the easement that's between 242 and 243
Mhm.
will go away, and the easement that's between 243 and 267.
Mhm.
Is there any concerns from the city's standpoint in losing those easements?
No, we've checked with staff. We've also analyzed it, looked at our future outlay, as well as all the other utilities that are in the area. And they're required to get letters of certification from each utility that is surrounding that property.
And I'm not sure it was stated, but there are no utilities in those easements.
The ones that
currently.
are being removed, correct.
Go ahead.
My question is for Lotta. So currently, lots 242 is zoned existing residential 2, as is the other lot next to it, 243. And then the one small portion of 267, that's, what, is that different? Is that neighborhood residential? So
Yes.
the one big lot the replatted lot, what zoning will that have?
So the zoning boundaries will not change.
Got it, okay.
This is not the process to do that. So in a sense, the parcel will have two zones. The two currently platted lots will continue to have ER2, and then the portion at the back would still have NR.
And so all of the requirements of building on residential zoning would still apply whether or not we replat?
Correct. So they would basically have to meet the ER2 zoning.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Go ahead, David.
Under what section of the UDC is there the criteria for making these changes in the zoning or the procedure? Is there a section for that?
For changing the zone? Right, so that would be a zone change process, which is very similar to actually a replat process, a joint public hearing, and then recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission to the City Council. And the City Council would make a decision make the final decision on the zone change.
Well, is there any criterion for applying this? Or
So the criteria for the zone change, number one is it in conformance to your future land use plan as adopted in your comprehensive plan? Is the zone change compatible with the area in general? Is it going to create any adverse impact because of the uses that would be permitted in the new zone? And how would it affect the character of the area? And the last one is to make sure that if a property is zoned, is there enough infrastructure to support the new uses that might be permitted in that zone? Now, in this case, of course, it's all single family, so there is the use issue is not really that important. So. But those are the standards that are looked at for a zone change.
the same standards for replatting, is that what you're saying?
No, sir, no. They're not the same standards for replatting. For replatting, the main standard is the new lot that is created. Is it going to cause any new nonconformity? And does that lot meet the requirements of the zoning code for lot bulk and boundaries and things like that? So the only reason zoning is important is to determine the lot and bulk requirements that this would have to conform to at this time.
This conforms to the deed restrictions and everything else?
So staff typically does not enforce the deed restrictions. All we can say is this conforms to the zoning requirements in the zoning code. Yeah. When I said zoning, because the zoning would have restrictions on use, setback, the width of the lot, things like that. Yeah.
Go ahead, Bobby.
That's regarding the rezoning, but we spend a lot of time on the UDC amendments.
Right.
In your opinion, does this replat meet the future, not that we have to have it, the future UDC requirements?
Yes, it would. Yes.
This right here. Sorry.
You have a question, Marty? Go ahead.
This is for Lotta. Lotta, are there any, yeah, just stay there. We're going to be there a while. Are there any significant differences?
You have a green light, it's on.
Is it on?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any significant differences between the different zoning of these lots and the areas within the lots that are gonna, if we approve this, go into the new lot? Are there any significant differences in setback requirements for building between the two different zoning designations?
So what's going to happen is the two lots that front on the street would still be ER2 or 4, ER2.
Right.
So any building that's built there would still follow the same requirements of the ER2 zone. The portion at the back, which is NR, anything that's built on that would have to follow the NR requirements. So really,
My question is there any significant difference between those two zoning?
so the difference is that
Classifications.
NR2 zoning is a newer zoning category in the UDC, and the minimum lot requirement is 1 acre. ER2 zone pertains to existing residential that's already been platted and is governed by deed restrictions. So that would be the only difference. The ER2 lot size requirement is smaller than the NR. So in this case, they're
Yeah,
actually making it bigger.
My question's not about the lot size, it's about setbacks.
Oh, so setbacks, I would have to go back and check, but I believe that the setbacks for the NR2 zoning is higher because that's the new zone that was created. For ER2, the setbacks are what was approved earlier prior to zoning. So the ER2 typically has smaller setbacks than the NR zone because that's based on the previous deed restriction that it was built under.
Okay, and the adjoining lot to the south is the older,
That's the larger NR
larger.
lot, yeah.
okay.
And if I,
I'll just
correct
have
me
a
if I'm
second.
wrong, but
I don't think,
ER2 is 0.3 to 1.3 acres, is that correct?
I believe so, point.
The NR that you've got sitting there, that sure looked like a flag lot to me.
So it would be considered a flag lot. However, this subdivision was already platted prior to the Unified Development Code, and it was approved as such. So- Right, the NR portion of it. There is a zoning map in your packet, and I don't have it here, but that shows the entire configuration. But that's been there, it predates UDC, so.
Anything else? I had one other question. So we put, had 3 requirements to meet as part of the replat.
Yes, sir. Those are minor requirements. Let me see. Sorry. Oops. I guess they're not here. So that's in the packet. The recommendation is the staff recommends approval with the conditions. One is to just provide an updated tax certificate that matches the plat area prior to recordation, and just to add the legal descriptions of all tracts. To make sure that the legal description matches the survey, and then just update a plat note to indicate that the plat area contains 2 zones. So
Okay.
minor conditions. Yeah.
And then with that, does the applicant have any reservations with meeting those 3 conditions?
No, sir, not at all. We've already made those changes to that plat and indicated all those items on there.
All right.
So, yeah, no problem at all.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions from council or commission? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Will the survey actually show the zoning area, since there's 2 separate ones?
On the plat, we indicate what the zonings are, but I don't think I show them individually of where they are.
So unique.
Right. It won't be that way anymore. It'll be just one big lot. Right. So the area, I don't know if you've seen the area there. The area in question way up there on top, it's like 30% grade. And they purchased that piece of property so they could build a little wall to prevent the drainage from getting over there, from helping them with the erosion and stuff. It's really a really steep slope in the backyard. And so they purchased that piece so they can probably avoid some of the erosion. And they've had it for like 40 years, ever since before they replatted lot 267 a long time ago. At the time that they were replatting, that's when they made that arrangement. It's unusable, in other words, you can't use it. Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Okay, at this time, then, I will adjourn the public hearing. And from the council and the commission, there are no actions required. And Christine, is there anything else that we need tonight? Or to this
No, sir.
public hearing?
No, sir.
Katie and Lotta, anything else that y'all need from your perspective? Okay. Then I have now, the time is 7:01, and we are adjourned.